Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2. It's going to be a brave noob world. Here for your Thursday, it's going to be SENSEI versus MsFrizzle here on Simulacrum, the latter edition. Good to see MsFrizzle getting into StarCraft. Top left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player SENSEI, all in caps. Very serious business here. And in the bottom right, it is the blue Zerg player MsFrizzle from the Magic School Bus. A show I watched a bunch of when I was a kid. Well, a little bit too old, I think, to be a kid back then, but maybe 12, 13, 14 years old. My younger siblings were watching it. I would get sucked in, and educational and fun, really good PBS stuff there. If you haven't watched the Magic School Bus, maybe pull up some clips on YouTube and just see what it's all about. Alrighty then, so this is Brave Noob World. It is my examination of Bronze and Silver League level replays sent to Sniper Monkey at the email address in the description. He is my screener. He does a very good job. Goes through every single one that is sent to him, watches them, and then gives me a choice of which one I want to cast if there are a lot of options. So, thank you again, Sniper Monkey. I really appreciate the work that you do. Alrighty, man. So a TVZ here, again, between MsFrizzle and SENSEI. Walling off low ground here is SENSEI. I kind of like it. At this level, anyway. Traditionally, Terran players will wall off at the top of the ramp because they are worried about ling attacks, 12 pools, and whatnot. But if you do this, the problem is you have to make additional supply depots, which is going to give you additional way too much supply. Like supply you don't need right now, which is kind of bad. But, you know, it's walled off. Ling attacks aren't really getting through here unless you leave that supply depot down, in which case ling attacks are definitely through there. So Zerg player seems to generally know what they are doing. Going for what looks like about a 16, 18, 17 play on the start. If nothing else, you need to know your build order. Go to lotv.spawningtool.com. If you don't have a build order, find something that sounds interesting to you, and they will give you a list of things to do at what particular times in each game that you play. If you memorize it and you can do it in your sleep, you're going to have a solid build order, and you're probably going to get promoted based off that. Just a lot of people in these lower leagues just don't have a plan, and having a plan is a huge part of winning in StarCraft 2. So, MsFrizzle here made 4 lings, got 2 queens in production. This is where you want to take a third base, although I love the Overlord Scout he sees. MsFrizzle sees a complete lack of a natural base. Wait, maybe. Yeah, I would be able to see that under construction. So it's a 1-basing Terran. So at this point, stay on 2 bases. Maybe go in for a further scout and see what exactly is going on in here. You know, saturate up your second base, make a bunch of drones. There you go, drones in production. Speed coming in. What is SENSEI's plan? He has a plan. Can feel it in my bones. He's going to make Marines and looks like tanks based on that tech lab. So Marine tank, really good against Zerg, especially if you hit them fast and early when they're not quite ready for it. Because you do want some Banelings to deal with those Marines if they get up to a certain number. Like if you attacked now with 2 Marines and a tank, sure. You have enough Zerglings to surround that and murder it, 100%. But if they show up with a bunch more Marines and tanks, you want some Banelings to deal with the Marines. You want Zerglings to surround on those tanks. Maybe come in from the backside and surround them that way. That'd be pretty good. So still no sign of a natural base here from SENSEI, man. SENSEI is not expanding, which I would recommend. It's very weird that he walled off here if he's not expanding, right? You would think if you're not expanding, you just wall off the top of this ramp. It's easier to wall off. It's easier to defend against an attack. And then you just do 1 base. But, oh, a fusion. Whoa, he's going kind of a slow battle cruiser rush. So he's got a plan. Gonna make some tanks. Maybe go into a slow delayed battle cruiser style rush, which in that case you need 5 queens attacking the battle cruiser with spore crawlers in each of the mineral lines, which I'm looking at. MsFrizzle, we're doing all the things. You have 4 queens, which is not ideal, but you're saturating your natural base. You're gonna go ahead and saturate these extractors too, I assume. And so far, so good. I would honestly say, out of MsFrizzle, you're doing the right things. You're not taking a third base when your opponent's on 1 base. You can afford to do it if you can saturate it quickly and if you can get an army responding to what the Terran player is doing. But as a general rule, what you want is just to be on 2 bases if your Terran opponent is on 1. And so far, so good. So got a starport. Is he supply? Wow, SENSEI, he made all that early supply, and now he doesn't have enough to make a battle cruiser. So there you go. Battle cruiser coming in right now. Roach Warren and a Baneling nest coming in from MsFrizzle. So on the hatcheries here, I guess if it's not actively upgrading, you have an upgrade to get Overlord speed. You have enough gas for it, so it's 100 to 100. Get the Overlord speed, get in there and scout this. You can. You can get in there and scout it if you don't fly right over the bunker. You go around and up here, see what it is. You can see the fusion core. You can see the tech lab on the starport. That's the important thing. And then the battle cruiser will be immediately obvious that it's on the way, in which case you just make a bunch of queens. Maybe even get a spire off of this lair. Get some corruptors out. Corruptors are so good against battle cruisers. They trade exceptionally well cost for cost. But I think you're just in the dark right now. MsFrizzle is the problem. You don't know what's happening, so you're just getting a little bit of everything. You're getting banelings. You're getting a roach warren. I love all this stuff. The problem is those are going to both be entirely useless against this battle cruiser. So what's the plan here? Lings are trying to see if there's a third base. No, you made a bunch of lings that you didn't need. That's another trick to Zerg is if you make a bunch of Zerglings, a bunch of early units, they don't attack and do any damage. Ooh, then you're just hurting your economy. But if they're actually doing damage, that's great. So here comes the battle cruiser. He's present. The queens are trying to fight. There are not enough of them, though, is the problem. Spore Crawler getting some really nice hits off, though. Never mind. If the battle cruiser wants to fight directly on top of the Spore, he is allowed to do that. He can do that all the livelong day. And then he flees on out because he jumped in. He can't jump out because the cooldown is still happening there. So that worked out. It could have been a lot worse in the hands of a better Terran player, as the Baneling bust doesn't exactly work. Gets through the first wall of supply depots, but the tank back here gets 5 kills. Woo! Yeah, if you're going to Baneling bust, make sure they don't have tanks defending, and you'll have a better time with it. So natural base is taken by SENSEI. Time for a third. Do you have vision on that, yeah? No. Ah, I thought this might be out of range just a little bit. Look at that. That's just dumb. Should have vision on that, I think. Anyway, scout what your opponent is doing. See they have a natural base. Take a third base of your own. And the pro tip here is being aggressive against a Terran player is generally not going to work at your level. It's hard to crack a turtled up Terran. I mean, this is not incredible amounts of turtling, right? This is a tank and a bunker and submarines. But breaking into an entrenched Terran position is a lot harder than waiting for them to come out into the open and killing them there, especially if they're on creep. Which is why I like to see creep spread happening. There's a little bit here between the bases, which is nice. But additional creep spread would be amazing. And I like that the creep is spreading out to the edges of your main here, too. That's really good. My friend Omicron would really enjoy seeing that if he watches this game. So again, there are tanks. So, alright, good. You killed some supply depots. This barracks is burning down. SCV has to repair it. You know about... Wow, you still don't know about the natural base. That's crazy. That's insane you don't know about the natural base. Like, it's been there forever, and you've gotten so close to seeing it a couple times here, but both times it's staying hidden. That stinks. Alright, man. So, Roach is really good up until the Terran has a lot of tinks or has a lot of bio. And if you're going to get this many Roaches, get speed for them, and you are getting speed. Alright, good. Très bien. Resaturating your extractor would be nice. Again, at this point, MsFrizzle, you need a third. Yeah, just do. I love the Ravager play, though. Okay, Ravagers are like 8 million times better than Roaches are against Terran like this. So you show up, 3 Corrosive Vials takes down a tank. Ooh, are you splitting? I think you tried to split and you just missed with a bunch of vials there. Good attempt, though. Not bad. Pushing in, tank down. All right, Ravagers inside the house, but battle cruisers can't handle this. Lings running in, trying to get stuff done, trying to kill as many of these SCVs as possible, and doing a pretty good job slowing down the Terran attack. So yeah, battle cruisers holding here for SENSEI, though, doing the right thing, and as Roaches come in, they just get obliterated by the tank battle cruiser combo. So yeah, the Terran player not super healthy economically, but MsFrizzle has not expanded for some time. So it's okay. It's okay that you don't have 50 workers because your Zerg opponent does not and doesn't have a third base either. It's still 2 base, 2-1 base, and again, defensive positioning. Really good stuff. 8 kills, 5 kills, 2 kills on that tank. Bunker full of Marines that have really contributed a lot to the Terran endeavor here today. And still no third. And just, again, like, this is throwing bad after bad here. This is where you're like, well, I lost a bunch of stuff trying to get in there. I'll just flood some more Lings in and see what I can do. And, you know, maybe get a couple SCVs. It's not horrible. But those should be drones, and that should be a third base. So what it comes down to is the Zerg player's not on 3 bases, and SENSEI's not really saturated on 2 bases either, so we're moderately even. I gotta say right now. Like, 28 to 36 workers, but again, no third base for the Zerg. Getting kind of oversaturated here on the main pretty substantially, too. That red is your indicator that bad things are happening. You have too many workers and not enough mineral patches. Hydralisk Den coming in to try to deal with these battle cruisers. No, I would recommend Corruptors wholeheartedly in that situation. But just mass battle cruiser, man. If your opponent's going mass BC, Corruptors are the answer of the day. Hydras will not trade well against mass battle cruiser by any stretch. Even a 1-to-1 ratio, like a handful of Hydras versus a battle cruiser, no. It's not going to go well for you. So really, the only answers Zerg players have are Corruptors. I'm not kidding. It's like Corruptors or bust against mass BC. Hydras, again, it's a fine answer on a certain level, but against 3 BCs, again, they're really sitting on this spore and really taking a lot of hits from it, finally taking it down. But you see how the Hydras are just squishy. They kill one of the BCs that was already fairly injured already, but look, just kind of standing in. Hydras get massacred. Queen goes down. And the battle cruisers continue to cause problems. So Hydras continue to come out here, and it's just not the answer. If you're going to make stuff, make queens, and then for heaven's sakes, make Corruptors too. And eventually enough Hydras come out that they make this thing happen. That they finally kill the battle cruisers. But that is 15 Hydras down, a bunch of drones down. And overall, just a pretty rough position to be in here for the Zerg player. Still no third base. If you don't have a third base at 10 minutes, you're just doing something wrong. The Nidus play is honestly kind of awesome. Like, really awesome. Is there actually enough to defend here for SENSEI? SENSEI's got Marines and tanks. Just not in huge numbers is the problem. Alright, well, we're here. Lings are inside the house. Hydras are inside the house. SENSEI is fighting as well as he can right now. Oh, is making medevacs off of a starport with a tech lab on it. You want to react to that, double pump those medevacs, but I like this choke. The choke setup is really good. The Widow Mines are actually kind of awesome, though. Having detection would seriously be useful in this situation, but I guess the Widow Mines don't have drilling claws. But eventually the tanks do manage to clean it up. Fusion core gets taken down, so there are not additional battle cruisers here, which is nice, but you'll notice that SENSEI took a third. That is kind of humongous. Having additional bases is massive in StarCraft. If you have more bases than your opponent, it's likely you're going to win. It's very simple math. It is. But it's legit. So yeah, the big problem is your main base is effectively mined out right now. You're going to be, very soon these mineral patches are all going to be gone. Your natural base is getting mined out as well. There's still no third. And SENSEI, SENSEI has been playing slow and steady and not really looking all that abjectly terrifying at any moment in this game. Has a third base, which he's muling up. He has a lot of resources. MsFrizzle sitting a bunch of resources here too. And Tunneling Claws coming in. So if your opponent is going Marine Tank, it's going to be Lings and Banelings and then something else. Maybe Mutalisks. I don't recommend that at the lower levels. Maybe some Ravagers would be pretty good too. But yeah, at this point, if there are 3,000 minerals and 1,200 gas, there you go. 22 Lings in production. That's a lot of Banelings. 1,200 gas and 2,000 minerals is a lot of Banelings. So Lings show up, but they're going to run right into a planetary. You'll notice that higher level players do not just sacrifice Lings like this. If they show up and a base is a planetary they weren't expecting, they'll just pull out and go back home and save it for another day. Another Nidus attempt, but this time there's a tank in range, and they did make some changes to Nidus like a few months ago to make them more susceptible to attacks from big stuff. Big stuff like, tanks, for example. They're much better. Much better against Nidus worms. But MsFrizzle's complete lack of a third base is kind of hurting my soul right now. But, you know, this is why we're here. This is why we're here in Brave Noob World, is to learn how to be better at StarCraft and learn from other people's mistakes and learn from our own mistakes. And, hey, it's a 15-minute third. There we go. We got there. Ooh, and a fourth, too. Loving that. Double expand when you recognize you haven't expanded for a while. That's great. 73 to 64 army supply, but we need banelings in this army. You got the baneling nest, which is great. You have centrifugal hooks, which is so good. But what you don't have are banelings that are taking advantage of that centrifugal hooks upgrade. Ling run-bys are nice. And actually, getting into the main would be pretty good here for MsFrizzle, but yeah, I mean, we're down to 2 mineral patches in the main. We've actually stopped mining at all, harvesting at all from this extractor, which means this one actually never got resaturated. So MsFrizzle decides it's time for all of the things. We're going to go for a spire, a lurker den, and an infestation pit. As the third and fourth bases come up pretty much simultaneously to the point that I'm not sure what we're looking at. Hey, there we go. 12 banelings. 12 banelings in production. Gonna go for it. Gonna roll on in. Ugh, that tank saw them, rotated in the direction to try to kill those lings, but they didn't actually get into range. And, oh, God. Okay. Ow. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think what just comes down to is attacking into an entrenched Terran position. You can't do it. If there is an army sitting at a base, that's a planetary especially, do not attack into it. If they're out here, if they're attacking you, sure, defend yourself. But if they're sitting here, don't attack into that situation. Bad times. Those banelings would do so much better defending this fourth base than they were trying to attack into that third base. I can tell you this much. Lings showing up. Big Roach Ravager army in here too, and the Marines, not enough Marines for that action. And the Marines have to retreat from this position. So losing a base, but still has a third one, is actually transferring drones on down to the third base, which is beautiful stuff. These drones need to get to work. Up over here on the top left, it will show you idle drones. If you click on that, it will select all the idle workers for you. And then you can click them and do whatever you want with them. You generally would be expanding and saturating new mineral patches. So replacing a fourth base is a priority right now. SENSEI is actually turning into a pretty scary looking Terran at 17 minutes. We got there. It took us a minute, but we managed to get there in the end. Production tab has consistently been working for SENSEI, which is a huge deal too. If you're consistently getting upgrades and add-ons and making stuff, you're going to be in a pretty good place at the 17-minute mark of the game. The Zerg player's production tab is empty right now. No upgrades, no production. Really focusing on these burrowed lings and this Roach Ravager army that's not doing anything at the moment. So fourth base being taken by SENSEI 2. His upgrade timings have not been perfect, but they have been pretty good today. And SENSEI decides it's time to move out with another little Marine medevac attack. He's got +1/+1. And stim for his Marines. No combat shield today. I imagine maybe he will get there. Widow Mines firing on that Overseer. I love the Changeling play. I do not use Changelings in my games at all, and I really should. They're so good in the lower levels. They're good in the higher levels too. It's just that they're so good. Well, everyone's so good in the higher levels that the person who's getting Changelings usually sees it and kills it instantly. But Zerg players continue to do it anyway, because it's just free energy, right? They're Overseers. What else are you going to do with Overseers? Okay, some Mutalisks, and this little Marine ball is going to die. They're going to kill some drones. But they're also going to 100% die here. Medevac fleeing for its life. That boost is going to run out, and the Mutas will get it. Oh, hey, no, but you have to no, guys, dudes. Okay. Bye. Goodbye, Mutalisks. That medevac is, man, that medevac is like the one in the Heart of the Swarm cinematic where General Warfield's men are flying away and he's like, spare my men, Kerrigan. And then she does. Pretty sure she does in both versions of the cinematic. Anyway, Corrosive Piles, there we go. This is actually decent attacking in, except there's an army here. And over-stimmed Marines still do full damage, and Roach Ravager not going to do well against that many stemmed Marines with medevac support. And Roach Ravager just not recommended at this level of, at this point in the game. You need Banelings, you need Lings, you need a lot of them. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need here. It's a lot of Ling Baneling. And maybe some Mutalisks for some harassment. But this is looking bad. Suddenly a further overstimmed bio play takes down the one remaining source of income of the Zerg player. Marines are dying here solely because they have no HP left. But their damage output is so much, and the Lings are kind of cruising in one at a time, and there are no Banelings. Look at how overstimmed these Marines are. They have like 1 and 5 HP each right now, but it doesn't matter. It's 173 to 6 total supply. And this is the most overstimmed bio army I've seen win a game ever. SENSEI is your winner. MsFrizzle taps out in 20 minutes and 35 seconds. What a match. That was interesting. Interesting find, to be sure. Thank you, Sniper Monkey. Thank you for sending it in. I think he said MsFrizzle sent this in. So kudos to MsFrizzle for sending in a loss, first of all. Major, major kudos for that. Much respect. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope the things I talked about, taking your expansion faster, scouting with Overlord speed, seeing what your opponent is up to, making Banelings when there's this much bio, not attacking into an entrenched Terran army next to a base. All these things I hope were useful and we can improve ourselves as a Zerg player in our future matches. But I don't know, a lot of it is pretty solid, honestly. Just expanding more and more intel and just correct compositional choices versus what your opponent is doing. And I know that's a lot. Is just knowing what composition to get versus what your opponent is doing. But yeah, Queens versus battle cruisers. If there's one, if there turns out to be 2 or 3, then you're going to want to go for corruptors, etc., etc. But yeah, we talked about it. We talked about all that stuff. Ba-boom. All right. Fantastic. Fantastic stuff there. So that is going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 and a Brave Noob World. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If you like what you saw and what you heard today, you can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.
And so you must run, and it's taken your heart and broken your soul. You cannot go back until you're made whole. And you're running into the void. You go searching into the void to find a place you can live. You can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, there's a light upon you, and you follow it on. Looking for a reason and a way to atone. All around you, the planets and stars. You're lost in a maelstrom of a to the void.